Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Hour Lovecast. I'm your host, Miss KevOnStage, and I am joined by my husband and co-host,
the KevOnStage.
And we are here with another episode of the Love Hour where we talk about, this is a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. Can we steal that from...
Who said that?
It's in the Declaration of Independence.
Sure, they stole everything from us.
Okay.
They stole us and brought us here. They steal our culture. They don't give us no credit. We can steal whatever we want because I'll fire on America.
Why do we get so deep so fast?
Hey, man, okay, so Black History Month is over. Never forget.
It's Black History Year. So we're a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness in relationships. We are marriage champions. We are not marriage counselors. So we talk about really a lot of transparent things in our lives and things that we find interesting. But if you think that you need counseling, it is our recommendation that you go. We are not a substitute for counseling. So please develop a personal relationship with an actual counselor. You can go to therapyforblackgirls.com if you would like to find a therapist. They have it's like a directory for of therapists across the United States of America.
Don't hit my mic.
Sorry. Okay, so now that that's out the way, we can go into the this or that with Liz and Kev and Liz. That or this. Kev and Liz. I think I always say it wrong,
and I always do it on purpose because you don't know how to submit.
No, and you know what? I always get somebody in my they either email me or DM me hate mail that they're just like, honestly, Melissa, it just sounds better.
Melissa won't. The more you ask her, the more she will not.
Honestly, I think I just have a mental block that it is this or that.
There's no rhyme for that, so.
Because normally that's how it goes.
Branding says that or this with
that
Kevin
or this
Liz,
with
but
Kevin
you don't want to be branding.
That or this with Kevin Liz. Thank you for your jingles.
It's time for This or That with Kevin Liz. This or That with Kevin Liz. Tomato.
Potato.
We choose each other no matter the problem. This or That with Kevin Liz. This or That with Kevin Liz.
So the question is, would you prefer a massage or a facial?
Massage.
I knew you were going to say that. That's so easy for you.
Don't touch my face. I'm one of the people who has, outside of razor bumps, fantastic skin.
You do have a super annoying perfect skin.
And I don't do anything. And Melissa hates it.
Yeah, I have actually
just wake
found
up and wash water over
like
my
with
face.
Dove or like Irish Spring.
Look how upset she is.
Because that is the worst.
But I also have razor bumps.
No,
so there's that.
Yeah, but listen, but you have stuff you can do better with that. What I have found is that people with the best skin has the worst skincare regimen.
Yes, my regimen is I was born. That's literally all I do to my skin.
It is so annoying because I work so hard.
I remember when I was a teenager, this is, you guys know that I am the best candidate for advertising. If I see a good ad, I'm like...
yes, you do. You are.
There's been I remember one time, I'll tell you the story, then I'll tell you what the point was about ClearSale. Applebee's had a commercial they had a quesadilla burger.
First of all, I'm already turned off because you said Applebee's.
I was at the house. They were like, we got a quesadilla burger. It's a burger in the inside, but it's on quesadilla bread. And I was like, I like it. Got in my car, drove straight to Applebee's for lunch and bought it. So ClearSale had an amazing commercial. They had the kids washing their face, splashing in there. I had never had pimples in my life as a teen. Went and bought some ClearSale and used it for like 3 months. For absolutely no reason.
See, and that's the thing. So when I was a teenager, I didn't use ClearSale. I actually used Neutrogena. And then it just like progressed from there because I have the worst skin on planet Earth. And it annoys me to no end that you literally, if I use Dove... Like I'm angry right now. Because says, you will literally, I can't even put Irish Spring on my body. It is so drying and itchy and scaly and flaky, and you will literally wash your entire face. Kevin, I'm so mad right now. Kevin will take Dove soap and wash his hair, his face, and his body.
And nothing will happen for the most part. However, you have a great body and you don't have to eat right or work out.
Is that the exchange?
Yes. I would rather have terrible skin And your body.
No.
Yes.
So because when we go out to places and Kev's like, we should get a couples massage. I'm like, I don't want that. I want a facial.
Except I've changed not to do no
Yeah,
facials.
I did just change because I did just get hip to game, and you actually need an esthetician.
Yeah.
And this lady has transformed my skin, and that is the reason I'm like in this space now.
I would do a massage all day long.
But also massages are like, I would rather go see a chiropractor too.
No, because they just be.
Yeah, but it lasts so much longer.
Soothing. I need to be soothed.
But
soothe me. Soothe, not crack my bones.
But then in 24 hours, your body is just as sore and achy, where a chiropractor is the person that's going to realign things so that way it lasts longer. Your massage would last longer if you went to the chiropractor first.
No.
Child, that was a little bit of a message because all you're doing is going for surface level, and the chiropractor is actually fixing the root of the issue.
No, because it's my shoulders that hurt, and the chiropractor don't do nothing for that. He helps when your back hurts.
No, and your neck.
If I'm sore here.
And if you have tension here,
I don't have
you
that.
don't even know.
If I'm sore right here in my shoulder blades, what's the chiropractor going to do?
Adjust your neck?
No, he's just going to... And plus, chiropractors just do that in like 5 minutes.
That's fact.
The massage, they got music, essential oils. They give you a little robe.
It is more an
experience.
I
want
agree.
somebody to give me robe and tell me sweet nothings. And rub my shoulders and talk to me and give me tea after and say, drink your water.
They do.
Okay, I just like to be, I want a little, the chiropractor is like changing your oil.
It's so true.
He don't even set the mood.
Okay, so
all the lights be on all
so
high.
You're saying massage just because of the experience.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't get facials.
I'm always going to do facial, but I would prefer to see my esthetician and not go to like Massage Envy.
Yes.
Because
and I like to give you massages because they lead to sex. That's really all men. The only reason we even give massages is to rub your butt. My shoulders hurt. You want a massage? Yes. Take your pants off. What? Panties off. Why?
I don't know.
I want to give you a massage in your butt. My butt feels fine. No, I grab it.
To this
I lock it. I want to grab
the podcast,
butt,
every single time we wind up here.
I'll give you a massage today.
In this spot.
You're sore. You just don't know it yet.
So one thing I never want you to take off in the massage is my bra. You know why?
Yes. Right off the rip. Don't matter what you tell me you need. Kev, my feet hurt. Take your bra off. Why? It's connected. It's like acupuncture. If I massage your boobs, then your feet will feel better.
Hello?
And I can't, if your bra strap's all in the way, I'm like, it's like an infomercial. I'm like, oh man, whoa, I can't even massage.
Oh my God.
The strap is confusing.
You make me so uncomfortable. My arm itches.
You need a massage.
I don't need a massage. Well, I do want to tell you one thing, though, why I don't want you to take my bra off during massages.
Why?
Because I just got hip to Third Love.
That was your best one so far. That was amazing. I didn't even see it coming. Look at you go. Look at you go.
So I actually just got hip to game 2 Third Love. And let me just tell you something. I'm a podcast junkie. In case you don't know, I literally listen to podcasts quite often, all of the time. And Third Love is like on like a lot of the as an advertisement, and I've always wanted to try them, but I never actually have. And I just tried them, and I bought like 5.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You bought 5 bras?
And they're amazing
Because they're that comfortable?
Literally.
I remember when you first got it, you were like, Kev, this is what it is.
So I knew I was addicted because I really, really liked it. This is a true life story. So Kevin and I just took headshots, and I knew we were going to be at the studio all day. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
And I was panicking because I couldn't find my Third Love bra. And I was like, I'm going to be so uncomfortable, and I need a bra that's going to be comfortable. And like, I believe that the girl should be like Jesus.
High and lifted up.
High and lifted up.
Come on in here today. High and lifted up.
Bro, there's all of the things. Okay, so let's talk about it. Like all of the things that they have. So number 1, they have 78 bra sizes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Be impressive.
That's unprecedented. They have inclusive sizing. They have signature half sizing. You take a fit test. Yeah, like a fit. It's called a fit test. Let me make sure I'm telling you right. A fit finder quiz is what it's called. And it helps you determine the size, but also the shape
The Shape of You, like the songwriter said.
Yes.
Ed Sheeran, huh?
And those two things together is what provides you with like the most comfortable fitting bra, because it's more than just like the sizing. It's also about the shape. And they have half sizes, which a lot of the population doesn't fit. Women don't fit in a full cup size. We normally fit in half cup sizes. And then you take the test. They match you up with like your perfect fit. And then they also send a recommendation bra, so to speak, with that bra, just in case. So you get two. Both of them worked out for me. This is actually how I wound up with so many, because they always send two, and then, well, your first order they send two, and then I bought like 3 more after that. So they're tagless and they're itchless. Amen. So they have a 60-day guarantee, or 100% fit guarantee, and every customer has 60 days to wear it, wash it, put it to the test, and if you don't like it, you can return it.
Wow. You know, and companies who do that always have great products, because they know you're not going to have to return it. Because if you have to return it, then they have no business model. So I found that when companies have really strong guarantees, it's because they don't need to use them.
I strongly recommend this. This is absolutely my favorite bra of all time, like literally my favorite one. So highly recommend it. If you are interested in taking up this offer, Third Love has provided a special offer to our listeners. You get 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/lovehour now to find your perfect fitting bra. Again, that's 15% off your first purchase. That's lovehour.com/lovehour. That's LOVEHOUR for 15% off today.
That's thirdlove.com/lovehour.
What did I say?
Lovehour.com/lovehour.
One more time. You're going to go to thirdlove.com/lovehour for 15% off. Again, that's thirdlove.com/lovehour. That's LOVEHOUR for 15% off your first order today.
And I think one thing I want to say about it that I like about it, easy to take off with one hand.
Hello?
With your left, any bra that's like left hand together and pull off, that's important for me. Third Love excels.
Third Love excels. Highly recommended.
Highly
Absolutely,
recommend.
100%.
Would recommend.
10 out of 10. Go do those things. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the topic for today, which has a little bit of a backstory. So I just want to quickly tell the backstory.
This your show, baby girl.
Okay, so
it is.
The topic for today is what you learned from your parents' marriage, or what your parents' marriage taught you.
Yes.
So we talked about this a little bit when we did the family of origin episode, and that is that your immediate family, or the family that you were raised in, is like your university of life.
Yes.
It literally teaches you how to interact, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. It implants your moral compass. Like, it is your university for life. And so I realized that I had things in me that I really actually didn't realize it, but it was through having kids and watching them replicate some of those actions you realize, I learned this from my mom, and now I've passed this down to my son.
Now, I know you have a lot to say. Do you think that's hereditary, or do you think that your kids see something in you that they then
I think
replicate?
It is an unspoken learning process that's learned simply by watching.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah. And they say that about your children. They learn more about you by what you do than what you ever tell them.
It's one of those church phrases, some things are better caught than taught. It's one of those that you just see it, and you just replicate and imitate what you see.
Yeah.
So my youngest son is in soccer. And last week he was in soccer practice, and one of the kids took his hat, and he was asking for it back. The kid didn't give it to him. I learned all of this after the fact because it was cold and I was in my car. So he's playing with the kid, or they're messing around, whatever. Kid takes his hat. He keeps asking for it back. The kid doesn't give it to him back. Joe eventually gets his hat back at the end of soccer practice. So he comes in the car, and his face is clearly distraught. Like, it is obvious that something's wrong with him. So I'm like, Joe, what's wrong? And he says nothing. So I've had this conversation with him, and actually I want to land a little bit right here on this field. So I have this conversation with him, and I've had it before, about emotional integrity and emotional honesty. So just really quickly, my definition of that is integrity actually means to be fully integrated. Mind, body, spirit. fully integrated. They all match up. And so when you have integrity, what that means is that like your morals or your spirit lines up with everything that's happening physically. Does that make sense? Like in the physical world, that's integrity. Everything is integrated. Everything is lining up. Everything makes sense. Everything matches. When you don't have integrity, what they're saying is something doesn't line up. So that's not having integrity. So in this example, emotional integrity would be your face is saying something's wrong. Your mouth is saying nothing's wrong.
Right.
That's not emotional integrity. That's not emotional honesty. Tell me what's wrong. He says nothing. So I have this conversation with him because we've had it before. He's familiar with it. And so I said, I'm going to ask you one more time and I'll ask some different questions, and, at whatever point you feel like saying yes, or I'm hitting the nail on the head, respond, and we can have the conversation from there. So we go down the list. Eventually he tells me what's wrong. And I realized in that moment, I passed that down to him. I do not.
You got that from your parents, Josh?
Yes.
What did you get from your dad?
My dad doesn't talk about
anything. So
and
listen,
you never talk.
For him, it's a weak. It wasn't necessarily a weakness, but like that's how he was
taught.
He grew up. I mean, my grandfather was an immigrant, bro. What are you crying about?
And you pass it down.
And you pass it down.
And that's why Josh. Remember, we were like, man, Josh never opens up about anything.
Yep.
Josh is walking into the corner.
Josh is in the corner right now. And it's
You're
so
25
true.
And Josh just realized where he got it from.
I'm 35, almost 36. Get it now, Joshua. You have 10 years before me. And so I'm literally, yes.
Get it now.
And honestly, it makes me cry. Honestly, it makes me cry because I realize that I have repeated this cycle to my son. And you go through, okay, so this is the first thing my parents' marriage taught me. Silence.
Ooh.
Silence. So when my parents first got married, they were young. Oh, and I feel emotional.
Please don't hit me.
Welling up. I'm not going to. I'm trying to
Just hit me on the leg.
Suppress.
You're a lot stronger than you think. That's what I want you to know. When you're like,
it's because I didn't have a brother when I was growing up.
But you fight like you did.
I know, because I always
she got brothers and boy cousins.
Hello? I do have boy cousins. So listen. My parents got married really young. And when I was young, like old enough to remember, I would say probably around third grade, because we had moved to Germany. My dad's in the military and his second duty station was in Germany, literally on a different continent across the ocean. And it's me, my sisters, and my parents. They had a rough time, to say the least. And during this time, we were there for 3 years, and majority of it was not fun times in my parents' relationship.
Yeah.
It was a very volatile situation. There was a lot of yelling and swearing and just arguing, and just it was a rough time. And they went from that to silence. So they had this really rough time of arguing all the time, fighting. Words are always being exchanged. They found the Lord. They found Christ. Well, my dad did. My mom got saved for real, for real. We moved to Hawaii and we entered this happy time in their relationship. But it wasn't a healthy time because no one was really, it was like they went from, we don't know how to communicate effectively because all we do is argue. And now we're in this happy space. So we're just not going to say anything to disturb the waters. And by doing that, they ended up building a lot of resentment. Everything was always okay. If you ask me what's wrong, I'm okay. Inside, I may not be. Again, there's no emotional honesty. There's no emotional integrity. And also, you're starting to lack connection with your spouse because I have all of these feelings that I want to express. And I saw this meme the other day, and it said that silence is the biggest distance between you and your spouse.
Yes. Now, let me pause you right here.
I'm going to pause.
Because you just clicked in my head.
What did I
click? That happened between them. You take this silence that they have when they're together, right? Then your dad gets deployed.
Yes.
So now they're separated by physical space and, an emotional space.
Yes.
And then when someone else comes in, who is a friend who is making an emotional connection, you're feeling that void that one, you didn't really realize was there.
Yep.
And two, you don't have an opportunity with your husband.
Yep.
So this is how you can have an emotional affair,
Absolutely.
even if your husband or wife is in the same city, because you could see them every day and never have that connection.
Absolutely.
And you can be having that connection with somebody else. And now you feel closer to another individual instead of to your spouse, because you're not sharing that vulnerability, those things that really matter, and you have silence in your relationship.
Yes.
And that was the first wedge in their relationship,
Absolutely.
was silence.
It was silent, and it happened. The seed was planted so long ago.
Yeah.
And years of it. And honestly, when part of my Just Say It campaign, and a lot of times when I create these campaigns, in the moment, there's something very specific that's a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look back on it and kind of sit in it, I realize everything that it really represents.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and we talked about this on Black Love Doc. We could say that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're going to be on Black Love Doc this season. And we talked about this, and not Cody, Tommy asked, were you ever afraid, because there was infidelity in my parents' relationship, that's why they divorced, and it was on my mom's part. And Tommy asked me, I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but he asked me, have you ever been afraid that would happen to you? And I have been. And I realize, again, just removed from it, but kind of sitting in like the campaign and all of that, my silence in not saying how I felt and not building that connection with you was separating us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
it was masked by happiness.
It was, yes.
Because we weren't fighting, we weren't arguing.
And that's
the
silence.
business is growing, things are going well, the kids are happy, but internally there's this like deadening feeling of like something is wrong,
Yes.
something is off here.
Something is off.
And because we are happy, it makes it harder for you to actually bring this up. Because it's like, because I remember we talked about this.
Go ahead.
And we were having the debate of our lives.
About
where you were talking about me not being emotionally vulnerable.
Oh, okay.
And I told you, like, I pay the bills,
Sure.
I do that and this and that. So I'm like, what else do you want from me? And you're like, everything.
Yeah.
Like, as far as vulnerability
Yeah.
goes, that's the one thing, which is everything. And that is, I'm thinking, because I'm doing what a man's supposed to do and providing for you, and because you're not saying what's wrong with you,
Right.
I'm not aware that we're even having marital problems.
Sure.
And then it just, like, I don't want to say luckily, but luckily it got to a point where you couldn't take it anymore, and it bubbled up into you having an attitude.
Yeah.
And that's when I first started to notice. I remember a couple podcasts ago, maybe last week, you were like, you didn't want to say something because you wanted me to notice. And then because when you say it, it's like, well, then you only care because I said it.
Right.
But if you don't say it, the other person is just like, bro, we good.
Yeah.
We chilling. I'm
Yeah.
doing what I'm supposed to do as a man. She's happy, whatever. We went to Paris. The boys are happy. Little did I know there's something that's been brewing in you for a while. And I think one more thing I want to say is that is interesting is that you said about your parents, which is the same for us. The seed was planted. And sometimes it takes a long time for you to see the results of that seed. So, and sometimes the deeper that seed is, that means the stronger the roots are. And when it finally sprouts, it's you think you got a little carrot and you got an oak tree of problems. And that is really hard to break. You know what I mean? So I think that, talking about it while it's still a seed allows you to break it down before it becomes, a problem that is too difficult. Or it bears fruit. Come on in here. It bears fruit, and that fruit can be an emotional affair, physical affair, whatever that is, because that seed is poisoned. And this analogy is just rocking.
It was a good analogy.
Double, bang.
More gets instilled in your children that you don't realize until later.
Now is all the fruit is poisoned by this silence.
Absolutely.
You bore that fruit to JoJo.
And that was good, Joshua.
That was good.
Because can they hear him good?
They hear him enough.
Okay, good.
Give Josh a mic in every podcast.
Because I wanted to make sure it was heard what he said, and that is, or it is passed down to your children. And honestly, what I just heard you say was generational curse.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny, not funny, but it's interesting. Whatever your relationship is with your parents, it sets the stage for your life.
Absolutely.
Single parent, abusive relationship, healthy relationship, silence. Because overall, we have a very healthy relationship.
Sure.
But that thing, like your kids, whatever it is, good or bad, they absorb it all. And they absorb a lot of great things from our marriage, but they also absorb the silence because they're replicating what they see in us.
And
the more
never
bad
have
things
to
you
say
have,
it.
you never have to say a thing. My kids, it's funny. I was telling this actually is funny. I was talking to somebody and they were like, how do your kids respond to you getting noticed? Right? Zay knows when I fake laugh. At any time.
That was yesterday.
He calls it and he calls me on it.
Yeah.
And I never said I fake laugh and never talked to him about it. I was like, how do you know? He was like, Dad, I've been around you when you get, I know. I heard your real laugh at home and I hear your laugh when you're trying to be nice to people, but you're really tired. Like, I know it. So he knows what it's like. And they call me on that. Both of them were like, fake laugh, fake laugh. You know what I mean? But that's a thing that I never thought about. They've seen that interaction so many times and they've had the quote unquote real me at home. And they're like, oh, you're trying to be nice to your family.
And
I appreciate that. But that ain't how you really laugh.
That ain't how you really laugh. But also it is teaching them something. And this could be something good. Meaning it could be teaching them that even when I don't want to be nice, be cordial. That's Dad, I watch my dad fake laugh. Sometimes I don't, given if they're in the spotlight, you're nice to your fans. You're cordial. You're appreciative. You fake laugh if that's what you have to do. That could be a good thing. And it also could teach them. We just watched the comedian the other day, and she was saying they wanted her daughter to play with one of the classmates, and she was like, sometimes I don't want to play with her. What if playing with her makes me sad?
Yeah.
And it was like low key, but in reality, that's a word. And that's what we do sometimes as well. We force ourselves to be put in situations to make someone else happy, and it's not making us happy.
Right.
Child, that was a whole word.
So do I get to say my?
You can say yours.
One of my things. So I have two, and I'm uncovering some of my deep, dark secrets. So my mom, prior to my mom getting married to my dad is William O'Kelly. That's who I call my dad.
Yes.
Dad on stage. Dad O is Melissa's nickname for him. I just call him Dad. People of the world call him Dad on stage. He grew a beard when he retired from the Army.
And it looks so good.
It's so good. I'm so happy for him. So before she was married to him, she was with Michelle's dad. And I remember, and this didn't really teach me anything. It's just a memory that I don't even know where it came from. But he was like abusive and angry, right? He in this particular instance, I was somewhere, Baltimore maybe, and there was a terrible storm, and she had made him egg sandwich. And he, whatever reason, she didn't make the eggs the right way.
Yeah.
And he slammed his hand. I don't want these eggs. Boom.
Yeah.
And the plate cracked. And that memory is like so vivid in my head. Me and Jay walked outside, walked in the rain. I remember it. That's all I remember of him. But I was just thinking, if she had stayed with him and that was their relationship, I would be a totally
different person.
Different person to you, to anyone else.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that's my one like negative experience, and it's just like a cloud or whatever. My dad, William O'Kelly, he is the most loving person. He's sweet, kind. The first thing that he taught me is that you can argue without yelling and without being demeaning. He has never raised his voice. Him and my mom's arguments, they've never raised their voice. I mean, literally never. I've seen him be upset. I've seen him cut his words shortly, but he's like, Sheila, what would you like me
That's
to do?
how he says it too.
Sheila, I tried to do this. And
He
how
never
would you like
says
it?
Sheila.
Sheila. Sheila, how can I do this more?
That's funny to me.
All right, I'll do it. Right?
Yes.
And so in our marriage, I never have yelled at you. Don't yell at, well, maybe yell at the boys sometimes. And you yell at the boys way more than me. You go full Mary Marshall.
I do. And that's another thing on here, but keep going.
Is that on here too?
Yes.
So, and now our kids have seen, and now they've seen us argue and have disagreements, but they've never seen us yell, cuss at each other, call each other names.
Right.
They've seen, and that's because that's me, seeing that. That's not even how I argue. And I don't really yell with anybody. Even when I'm upset, I never yell. Yeah. So I think that's probably the first thing I think of is like, my dad was telling me this one time. He was like, we weren't able to give you guys as much money as we would have liked to, but we gave you a safe household.
Absolutely. That's
food. And that was, and in my mind, like that was infinitely more important than like money. Yeah. You know what I mean? So with you, I'm able to be calm, and you get on my nerves.
Hello?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I don't need a whole song,
gosh.
sir.
So, but we've never had that issue. And your parents were like that. My mom had relationships like that. But imagine if I did that, it might have pulled the part of you that you saw your parents doing that. You're capable of it.
Sure.
That one time when you thought I was cheating, you threw that BlackBerry at me. I was like, oh, she crazy for real.
I got a little bit of brush.
You got a little bit of so. But imagine if I was always volatile to you, you could match that volatility.
Absolutely.
But we don't have that in our relationship.
That's what you got? That's
good. My first one. I have another one, but I'll let you take your next one before I go.
Okay, so my next one is let me go to it. Don't be a victim of identity theft. Okay. And so what that means is that I watched my mom, and actually it's twofold. I learned that marriage is sacrificial with my parents because my dad was in the military, and I watched my mom not be able to have a steady career because we moved every 3 years. Like, it's literally not
Army
an option.
wife.
She's an Army wife.
You're married to the Army.
You are. And so she wasn't able to like really grow, so to speak, in any one location. She stayed in the government system, but there's only so much you can do when you're traveling every 3 years. So I learned that, but through that, I feel like my mom took on the identity of Army wife. And that is one thing, not only lose who she is, but I watch my parents not develop a relationship onto themselves. The next thing that I learned from them is how not to be a victim of identity theft, meaning don't allow myself to get caught up in the role of mommy. Yes. Don't allow myself to get caught up in the role of employee, of church, of whatever, and always remember the individual that I am and my interests and what I like, separate from being a mom, separate from being a wife, separate from being an employee, separate from being a minister at my church. What are the things that I enjoy? What are the things that I like? Yes. And part of me, even when I think back to the first emotional integrity and this one, part of what allowed me those revelations is honestly that I've read so many books. Because when you don't have the knowledge for what you're feeling, you don't know how to articulate it. Right. Which is why, honestly, I've started a book club. Boom. So we are doing, I came up with the title for it, but actually I didn't come up with the title for it. Y'all came up with the title for it. And it is Liz's List. Did you come up with that?
I think somebody in the comments did.
Okay, good, because I thought so too, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Liz's List. And so the book that I am reading this month is called Girl, Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. I am listening to it on Audible, and I just really, really quickly want to give this little synopsis that I'm on like chapter 2 or 3. I think I might be on chapter 2. And she was talking about, in my words, mommy shame. And this ties again to that identity theft. So she was talking about mommy shame and mommy guilt, and she was talking about how she has a blog, and someone asked her, how do you do it all? And she was like, oh girl, I don't. Like, I have help. I have help. I have a nanny. I have a photographer. I have a videographer. My husband does this. And she said she received so much hate in the comments from people. I would much rather be a mom at home with my kids than be pursuing my own career. That's selfish. And I was just like,
really?
Yes.
Wow.
That mommy guilt and mommy shaming is so real. Really? And it will prevent women from realizing and recognizing what they want to do, and they will become victims of identity theft by only doing the roles of mommy, only doing the roles of wife, and you don't know and so you feel this literal sense of, I don't know who I am, because all I've done is be a mom, and all I've done is be a wife, and all I've done is go to work, and all I've done is be a minister. And part of the reason, again, through all of that, I had my parents as a cautionary tale, but also I've read a lot of books. And so again, that's why I'm starting this book club, because I want people to find the education in books that I've read that have helped me along my journey. Right. Okay. So I say all that to say that you can find this book on Audible. They are one of the sponsors for the podcast. They are absolutely amazing. Joshua had just got hip to game to Audible.
And he used what?
Our code. And he used our code. Make sure you do that. Audible is fantastic. They have the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet. Mm-hmm. Child, that's a hefty claim.
That is. I'm listening to the for men only.
Right you are good. It is fantastic. You can listen to it while you're at the gym, while you're cleaning, on your commute. There's like so many different options. I'm often listening to it while I'm commuting or while I am cleaning up. It is fantastic. You have rollover credits. You receive an email once a month that says, hey, you have a new credit available. That's my favorite one. I always go in and check to see what new books are there. Also, one of the podcasts that I listen to that is freaking fantastic, Where Should We Begin by Esther Perel. Have you ever listened to it?
Yes, I listened to it with you.
Okay, it is so good. Season 3 is about to come out. Highly recommend.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yes, definitely. So go to audible.com/love hour to get your free trial. Again, that's audible.com/love hour. That's LOVEHOUR. Or you can text 500 and listen for a chance to listen. Did I finish mine on identity theft?
Yeah, I feel like you shortened it a little bit.
I did shorten it a little bit. So let me tell you what the bottom line is. Part of one question that I'm often asked is, or not even that I'm often asked, I actually got this in an email, and one guy was like, it is so awesome to me that you can still go by Miss KevOnStage and still feel like you have an identity. And I was like, I don't know if I'm complimented or offended.
That's a cleansalt.
It is.
A compliment insult.
It is. But I want to say, trademark, okay. But I want to say that I have, number one, I have struggled with finding my identity. Mm-hmm. And I've put in the work to find my identity. But also, I don't take on the identity of Miss KevOnStage. That is an online handle.
That is a social media handle.
That is a social media handle.
Yes.
I am Kevin's wife. I am Melissa Fredericks, and I am a mother to Isaiah and Josiah. Miss KevOnStage is simply an @ where you can find me on social media.
That is a word right there. Because sometimes people get confused.
They do.
KevOnStage is a handle.
Yes.
And people don't know this. It's just funny. My handle used to be Kevin Fredericks on Twitter. And I changed it to KevOnStage because people were getting fired for tweeting reckless stuff. So I was like, I need to switch my name up. Mm-hmm. And that's because I came now. KevOnStage has also become a persona.
Sure.
But that is it's just a social media handle.
It's just a social media handle. And that's not to say that Miss KevOnStage isn't a representation of who Melissa Fredericks is.
Right.
Things that I post on there are true to me.
Yeah.
They're either funny to me, they're relevant to me, they're applicable to me, whatever.
But don't trip.
But don't think that Miss Kev, and this is the other thing, another thing that actually Rachel Hollis said in the book was that what you see on social media is not who I am. It's who you think I am. Yes.
What? That's a word right there.
That's a word. So she's like, you may be following me. I may post this outfit and I may have my own personal reasons why I posted it. And you may think, oh, she dresses really cute. She's a mom who also dresses really cute. Mm-hmm. And that's why. And so now everything that I post is your perception of me as a fashionable mom.
That's why the people get so mad at me on Aska.
Why?
Because I'm a Christian who is willing to have conversations with people don't always want to, and they don't think a Christian should do that.
Yes.
And if they were in that position, they'd be like, do you know God? Do you know Jesus? Yes. Blah, blah, blah. And because I don't do that, they think I'm not accurately being an accurate description of a Christian because I'm not the person they would be.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, and that's not how I approach the world.
Absolutely.
Even in my Christianity.
Right.
So somebody
and that's what she was saying. She was like, you become disappointed when I don't measure up to the standard that you created about who I am.
And I've never changed. So it's funny, going back to Aska, people are like, don't let fame change you. You're doing this new show. I've done this show before you heard of me.
Right.
I've done Aska for 4 years. I just couldn't do it for the last 3 or 4 years because I worked at ADD.
Sure.
But before I moved to LA, I was already doing this. I was upsetting people back then when I did Ask an Atheist and Ask a White Guy.
Sure.
You just found out about it. But this ain't even a new show.
Right.
But that goes along with you're changing. It's what Will Smith said. Disappointment is whatever it was. Expectation is the biggest part of disappointment.
Yeah.
People expect a version of me, and as soon as you break out of that version, you're disappointing.
Exactly. And sometimes it's scary because you're like, I don't want to disappoint people, but at the same time, I always want to be true and authentic to who I am.
Absolutely.
So I like clothes. And I want to be an entrepreneur. And sometimes I just want to sit at home because it's raining and I don't want to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't.
You did that all weekend.
I did that all weekend. It was fantastic, child. I
deserved
needed all the rest.
You deserve
But the other thing is that I was going to say something and I forgot.
You deserve it. I'll just sing more.
Don't speak because you're going to make me forget more. I forget it.
Okay. So I'm going to go to my next thing?
Yes, you can go to your next thing.
So the next thing I learned from there's a couple of things. I'll go to my mom first. I learned entrepreneurship from my mom.
You did.
My mom has been hustling for as long as I can remember. She has poor vision and poor hearing now. Still runs businesses, still writes books, still speaks.
Stays on the road.
When I was a child, she was a single mom. She worked 3 jobs. So I work ethic off the roof, off the rip from her. Later on, when I was in North Carolina, she had a manual marketing service. She made flyers for people to help promote their events. She had a manual travel service where she served as a travel agent. I mean, it was a manual everything. Yeah. She was saying it was a manual business, right? So when I was like 12, I had a lawn mowing company. We lived on base in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I realized that on Tuesdays you had to. You remembered it?
No, I just had a revelation.
Yeah, I remember. We had inspection, and on inspection you had to have your yard clean or you'd get a fine. So on the weekends prior to inspection, I would go around my little lawnmower. I made my own flyers for my company, passed them out, said, hey, I know inspection's on Tuesday. We'll cut your lawn for $10. I put the money back into the business, bought gas and oil for the lawnmower. I had employees. I had my friends, and I would pay them so we can cut more lawns. Sure. I would be like, all right, $5 for you, $5 for me for finding it. And then I keep $10 if I mowed my own lawn. So I bet $5 for doing, or we do it together, and I pay him $3 or whatever. So that was my first business. And I remember the first time I saw a business expense go to waste, I printed off these color flyers.
That was already
at the shopette, passing them out.
Shopette's only if you're military. You know what a shopette is? That's 7-Eleven
if you live on base.
Yeah.
This man took my flyer and crumbled it up and threw it in the trash. And I was like, do you know how? Sir, went back, took it out, unfolded it, and gave it to somebody else. You were serious. But I learned entrepreneurship from her. She's run a business or a slew of businesses for as long as I can remember.
What is funny to me about that is framing.
Yeah.
So I've had a job, never considered entrepreneurship. Okay. So this is framing.
Even though you did a paper route?
And that's where I'm going. I've had a job for as long as I can remember from paper route, and you could do paper routes as young as however old you are in like 7th grade. Because I think I'm 12. So I had a paper route in Hawaii. When we moved to Washington, I still wasn't quite old enough. I wasn't 16 16, I think is when you can work. I wasn't old enough. So we did delivered papers in the morning before school. And then I worked at KFC. And actually after I was kind of tired of doing paper routes in Hawaii, I babysat this little girl for like the whole 2 years that we were in Hawaii after I did the paper route. And then paper route again. And then I got a traditional job and I work study through college. Like I've always had a job. I never considered it entrepreneurship though.
Really?
I watched my dad have income. I watched my dad save money. I watched my dad stash bills, and I was emulating that, but not in terms of entrepreneurship. And so again, it's just this framing of where you come from, you know, and how you see things. But also I didn't run it as like a business.
It's an independent contractor though.
It is. It's absolutely
so it's a babysitter.
You're
you
right.
weren't thinking of Lissa's paper out service. You were like,
absolutely.
I work for the newspaper.
Absolutely.
They pay me. I deliver papers.
Absolutely.
I work for this family. They pay me. I watch child.
Right. And I would do this in the same kind of how I am. Kevin's always fussing at me about the merch and stuff, but I had the same sort of diligence. I would come home. I was always an A, B student. I got B's. A, B student in high school throughout my whole
3-5
academic.
Through.
Yeah. So I would go home, I would eat, I would do my homework. And in Hawaii, I wrapped those papers myself and I delivered them around the base.
I know you wrapped them yourself.
Yes, they didn't come wrapped. They came in stacks.
Wow.
And you had to roll them up, rubber band them, and I was on my bike and I would throw them.
You never enlisted your sister's help?
So when we were in Washington, when we moved to Washington, it's colder here and they had to be delivered before school. So we did it as a family. My mom would drive us and then me and my sisters would all do it. But we would get up. We have to pick up the papers on Sundays. We'd have to roll them up, rubber band them, and do it. I didn't necessarily want their help when I was a teenager because I didn't want to share my money. So I'd rather do all the work. And then because we didn't have a whole bunch of money, you know, so I'd rather do all the work and then I could buy whatever I wanted. And I was trying to buy clothes and shoes.
Capitalism.
And, yeah,
greed.
No, it was a
I
little
was
bit.
spread the wealth.
So anyway, I just think that's.
I'm a businessman at heart.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so the next thing my parents' marriage taught me, and I realized that this was a trigger that I didn't realize that spawned the Just Say It campaign. Okay, so this is kind of deep. Number one, my mom pretty much wore the pants in my parents' relationship.
Yes, she did.
Number two, my mom was a nagger.
Yes, she was.
So what I learned from that is I'm sure she would agree.
Yeah.
What I learned from that is, number one, I wanted to allow my husband to wear the pants.
So this is a thing you wanted to do the opposite of your parents.
Yes.
From the rip.
From the rip.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be a nag.
It's two
with
things.
That, yes. And so with that already kind of in the back of my mind, years ago when you called me a nag, it was a trigger to what I didn't want to be and replicate in my parents' marriage.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Me either. I just had this conversation with Mel this weekend because I had been thinking about this episode and what I wanted to do. And I was like, Mel, I was already predisposed to silence. And when you said what you said, it was the trigger that I needed to be like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Let's pause here.
Okay.
Predisposed to silence. Parental predispositions.
Ooh.
Is something you should take ownership of and inventory of in your person. It's like what is that they call it in insurance where they won't take you if you have something like already wrong with you?
Pre-existing condition?
Pre-existing conditions. And that's what you have.
Sure.
Right? So it's one thing to have that, but it's another to have it and not even know it. So now you don't realize you are getting triggered until you're getting triggered. Yeah. And I also don't know. You didn't share that with me.
I didn't know.
I was going to say it's not even been a conscious thing. Yeah. So this is why I think people, because you're always worried about people who listen to the Love Hour and aren't married and like that they don't get anything out of it. And here's why I think people do. This information is vital before you get married. Yeah. Because I know what my triggers are. I know what I learned from my parents. I know what I might need to address. Yeah. What I might be genetically predisposed to or parentally predisposed to because of my environment. And at least before you can get married, you can say, okay, from my parents, I learned this and that. This is how I see the world. In my previous relationships, my people have said this and that, or I've liked this or that, or didn't like that. So now when I want to go into a new relationship, I know this about myself and I can share that. So imagine if you would come to me and said, Kev, in my marriage, in my parents' marriage, I learned this and that. Yes. I don't want to do this and that. But if you say certain things, it's going to make me feel this way. Right. How much more stock could I have taken in our marriage and said, if I call her a nagger, which probably wasn't even what I meant in that scene, like overall. Sure. But if I knew that would be a trigger for you, I would have chosen my words more carefully. Right. But since I didn't know and you didn't share it and you didn't, I'm not putting it on you, then look what it did. Right. And that was a one-word interaction that had a 7-year, 10-year result.
Profound effect.
You nagged. I remember when you stopped.
Yes, me too.
Where was it? I want to see if it's the same spot.
Wait, what do you mean? Exactly where?
Not like around the time.
So we had bought the house.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Was it?
Right when we got our first house. I remember being in the kitchen.
Yep, me too. I was going to say that the memory that I have is in the house, in the kitchen, but I don't remember specifics.
Yeah. That's crazy because that's like a dormant memory for me, but it just came clear. I want to say Keita was at the house and it had something to do with a conversation we were having.
I remember all that. But listen, let me tell you something. This is also, this is also the importance of therapy.
Yes.
So part of the reason I feel like, again, where I am today.
I'm scared to go to therapy. I don't know what they're going to uncover. I'm going to do it anyway, but I know I harbor some stuff that I don't deal with. And once they start unlocking that stuff, I'm going to be like, but my real dad, he never come play with Kevin. And my brother got all this stuff. And I never had godparents. And I make jokes about it all, but inside it really hurts me. And I don't have time.
You should go. You do.
No.
Let me tell you.
I'm a crip, cuz. I don't need that. But I do need it, and I'm going to get it.
Yes, you do need it.
I'm going to be coming at you with wet face every Thursday.
I know. But this is the thing about therapy is that it allows you to trace the root of behaviors.
Yeah.
And that is the inventory. That
Absolutely.
is the audit that you have to do in your own life. So that way you can come fully self-aware.
Yeah.
So that way when you say something and it triggers me, I can see things for where I am and not necessarily try to interpret what you meant based on where I am.
Yes.
Because that's what we do.
Important distinction.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to say this one thing too, that therapy is hard and therapy can make you sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Both physically and metaphorically.
It's hilarious.
So we want to talk about Native.
Yes.
They're our last sponsor for the day. And they are first of all, anything that is made by women and for women, I'm always a fan of.
Women sweat too.
No, absolutely. So, and this is the thing. I am a sweater.
You are a sweaty mess.
Yes. So
you're always concerned about your sweatiness is what I should say. You're
Yes.
like, I can't wear this shirt because I'm going to be sweating.
Man,
and you cannot just go and get regular over-the-counter deodorants and stuff.
It is the most embarrassing thing. I would absolutely do Botox in my underarms to prevent myself from sweating.
Is that a thing?
Absolutely.
Isn't Botox what you do to like fix your face?
Yes, but they also have things that plug your sweat glands.
Okay, guys, it's a human thing. You need to sweat.
But when you're going out to events or you're like on the red carpet or whatever, you don't want to have like sweat stains. Okay, I would do it. I'm just saying that I would. So the product is Native, or the brand is Native, and they are formulated without aluminum, parabens, and talc. They are filled with ingredients found in nature, such as coconut oil and shea butter. And anything made with coconut oil is good. Made from the Lord. I got the deodorant. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I put this on. I was scared because I am a sweaty. And I called Kev and I was like, Kev, I don't know if this gonna work.
Because you have your certain medical deodorant.
I have certain deodorants that I use that I know will do right by me because I am a sweater. And this stood the test of time.
It stood the test of time.
And I wouldn't tell you if it did. I would tell y'all I would cancel this if I didn't. If it didn't. And the scent that I have is coconut and vanilla.
And it smells good. It
smells like a candle. Or like those plugins. Like, honestly, I know I'm weird. If you're a scent
superstar.
Yes. If you're a scent person, it smells so good. Like the fact that I've used. It smells so good.
Mm-hmm. But what's more important is it works well.
Okay, but what's more important is that it actually works. But it also smells good. And women like things that work. Mm-hmm. We like packaging and we like scent.
And Native hits on all three. And
Native hits on the scent factor.
You're smelling it a lot. It's
okay,
weird.
I just want to say that. Okay. It is not tested on animals. It has free shipping and returns. It is something that has really good ingredients that are really good for your body. I definitely and most certainly recommend it. There is something for everyone. Native comes in a wide variety of enticing scents for men and women. Plus, they release new limited additional seasonal scents throughout the year. We also offer unscented formula and baking soda free formulas for those with sensitivity.
Baking soda. It don't got baking soda.
The most popular scent is the coconut and vanilla, and honestly, I see why. It is amazing. They also have lavender and rose, cucumber and mint, and eucalyptus and mint as well. No risk to try, and they offer free returns and exchanges in the U.S. So what you need to do if you're interested in taking advantage of their products, go to native.com and enter Love Hour in the checkout area for 15% off, 20%. One more time. So if you're interested in taking advantage of this offer, go to native.com and use promo code Love Hour during checkout for 20% off your first order. Again, that's, dang it, it's not native.com. It's Native Deodorant. Yes.
Josh, you got some editing to do.
Sorry, I messed that one all up. I did so well.
I'm sorry. This is your best day every day.
I've been thinking about it. Okay. For 20% off your first purchase, visit nativedeodorant.com and use promo code Love Hour during checkout. Again, for 20% off your first order, go to Native Deodorant and use promo code Love Hour. That's LOVEHOUR during checkout. And that's 20% off your first purchase. Definitely worth it. And what I would actually recommend is this product. Get the deodorant, get the coconut and vanilla, and just do this because it's amazing. All right. What else have you learned, Kevin?
So the thing I learned next was probably, again, from my dad. And I think I learned more from my dad in marriage because of you know, my role as a husband, his as a husband/father. His diligence with his work. He worked hard.
He did and does. And
he spent his money on us. And he took us to places. I've told you this before. So it was important. My dad, was important for him that we had social capital. So he wanted to take us everywhere. Yeah. So he took me to Grambling when I was a kid. I saw an HBCU. You
went where?
Grambling University.
Got it. Okay.
He took me to Arlington Cemetery. He took us to George Washington's house. Every time we took road trips, he found something cool to show us. Monuments, museums, things like that. And then I passed that on to the boys. And I remember, like, as a kid being like, this ain't that cool. But then as an adult being like, man, I'm so glad, like, I have this frame of reference. And that's what I do for the boys. Like, it was funny last night. We're going to Japan for Christmas. And I asked the boys.
You've decided?
Yeah. I got the tickets.
Oh, did you?
First class. Yeah, you remember with the miles?
Okay.
First class
Go for
us.
it. Just keep talking.
And we called the boys in last night. We're like, hey, guys, we're going to Japan for Christmas. And Zay was like, Japan?
He was
like,
not ready.
Wow. That's impressive. He's like, all my friends have talked about Japan. I never thought we'd be able to go. Yeah. So I was like, what would y'all like to do? And JoJo was like, do they have Disneyland? He's like, of all the stuff. And I was like, they do. We could go to, Tokyo. I think it's Tokyo Disneyland. Yeah. But, they went to London. They went to Paris. They're going to Amsterdam and Spain this year. Yeah. And on top of Japan. And they, like, whatever they do in life, they will have, like, my dad worked. He took care of our family. He had to go away from work, which I also realized I learned that from my dad, too. Yeah. Because he was in the Army, he spent a lot of time away and he was TDY or he was on orders or he was in the field or there was a time he was doing black ops and he couldn't tell us where he was going for like 2 weeks at a time. And as a kid, I was like, I respected that. Like dad goes out to work for our family. Like he sacrifices time with us to be there, but he also made the most of time with us. And here's a negative thing I learned from them. My mom running the business and my dad working so much, they missed key time with us. They never went to my games. Hardly ever went to my games. I would be like, sometimes not my dad as much, my mom, they would be at home. When I was in high school, my mom would just be at home. And the game was.
But your mom was also not an abled person.
No. Okay. She could have went. I'm not saying every game. Okay. But they didn't go.
But she literally is not.
Don't get her off the hook.
No. This is one thing that I've learned.
I saw it on your list. Yes.
Grace.
Yes. I actually, I'm not upset with them because I talked to them about it. My dad was not usually there. And my mom was like, I was working. I didn't realize how important it was to you. And you didn't ever say anything. You didn't make a big deal about it. So I thought it didn't matter to you. And she was disabled. I'm being hard on her, but I love her. But it was very important to me to be at my kids' stuff, their games, their stuff. And it hurts me even more every time I have to miss one. You know what I mean? But I try to go to as much as possible. But that's why I take November, December off, so that I can at least be at the games that I could be at. And I promised I will never not be at my son's game if I'm at home. Yeah, like if I'm home, one time we had a show on a Friday and I had a show on Sunday morning. We flew back Saturday morning from Houston, went to their game, and flew right because it was a championship.
Yep.
When JoJo scored the goal in overtime, and I freaking lost it. The goalie rolled on the ground, lost it. We went right from that game back to the airport and flew, and we, but that type of stuff is important to me because we want to have those moments. So, and I understood what my parents were doing, but I realized, and this is what I had to realize for myself, I would have rather had less stuff and more time with my parents, and I didn't want to fall into the same trap of doing all these shows and gigs because I can make a lot of money in November, December, probably the most per year because of holiday pricing, but I would miss those moments with my kids. So it's okay to leave money on the table in exchange for those moments with your kids so they appreciate your stuff. So that's the thing that was really important to me.
The last thing kind of along those same lines that I have learned actually in adulthood and being a parent is being able to offer my parents grace.
Yes.
Because when I think back, my parents were 18, 20, 22 and 24 with 3 kids.
I was talking to your mom about this weekend because she came to the show. And by the way, my parents have more. Now they don't miss a show. They drive.
Oh, I know.
If I'm within 8 hours of North Carolina,
they're coming.
I'm like, guys, okay.
Man,
they
listen.
Don't miss a show.
Not a single show.
And my mom asks for a shirt at every show.
Does
like,
she?
Mom, you have a... My dad does not miss a show.
No.
So I was talking to your mom.
Your dad drove to my sister's speaking engagement a few weeks ago.
I know. He's like that.
Yes.
Now, you were talking about grace, and I was talking to your mom about this at dinner, and I was like, Mom, I'm 35. I said, do you realize when I met you, you were 34, 35? Melissa was 16. Like we have 12 and 10 years old, which for our age is relatively old kids compared to Zay's friends. They're like, man, our friends' parents are like 44 or 50. Yeah. You guys are the youngest parents by a lot. Your mom was even younger than
we
that.
are.
She was what? Probably 28 when you were 12 or whatever. I'm not good at math. But the
whatever
point is,
plus 18 is.
Yeah. She was 34 with a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 12-year-old. What?
And when I think back to, not even think back, when I think of where I am currently.
At 35. With a 12 and a 10.
Yes. Versus where my parents were and the ages of my sisters, me and my sisters, I realized they didn't know nothing. They didn't know a single solitary thing. They were figuring it out.
There's no test they give you before you get the kid.
Yeah, but as a child, you just believe your parents have it all together.
Yes.
They're your parents.
Yes.
You are the adult in this situation. Clearly, you have it together. You know what to do. And when you're in that position, you realize, child, I don't know nothing. I don't know me. I don't know him. I don't know us. And I don't know we. Literally. I don't know anything. You're over here asking me how to divide decimals. I don't know how to divide decimals. I don't even know how to put that in a calculator to find the right answer. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. And so I just extend grace to it's like a retroactive extension. But I do, when I think about what they were trying to instill in me, and even that, when I think about what they were trying to instill and offer to me and my sisters, and they were so young and didn't grow up in what they were trying,
and how the environment you would have been.
That's
if
what
your
I'm
parents
saying.
Didn't pull you out of that.
The thought of them. I got what you're saying. Let me say it.
The words were giving me a fit.
If you think about where they came from and the pivot and what they were trying to instill in us when they didn't have the experience themselves.
Yes.
It's like, thank you.
Thank you.
And I did this post over the weekend, actually, because I had a Friday. Okay. It was just all the things were happening. But I asked the kids to, first of all, this is where it started.
Tell me where it started.
It started because, okay, so listen. I came home and the trash can was full.
Boy, this is something you learned from your mama.
No, well, it's twofold. Number one, the trash can was full, but not only was it full, somebody made oatmeal, and instead of, number one, either breaking down the box or taking out the trash, they decided to just place the box on the side of the trash.
Scoundrels.
Yes, and it was like a few other like boxes just laying on the side of trash. So I come home and I am livid. And I'm like, we work too hard and you get too much to not have taken out this trash. That's number one.
We don't even ask you for nothing, cuz.
Literally. And this is the other thing though, Kevin.
Clean your room and take the trash out. Pretty much it. And get good grades. I'll fire on you, cuz.
That's it. And y'all even tell me y'all can't
on
do
the
that.
hood, y'all get
and
everything.
y'all are in your room playing that video game and you
on that doggone game.
And you want to go see Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel. Oh, and you got Captain Marvel money?
No, this is the other thing.
No, you finna see Thanos.
What?
Snap. You out of here.
The other thing is like, as soon as I came home, Isaiah, Mommy, are we going to go see Captain Marvel? And I'm like, first of all, hello.
First.
That's first.
And that is facts.
So then I'm like, go sit down because that's not going to be the first interaction that we have. So he goes to sit. I go to throw whatever I have in my hands. And then I saw the trash and I was like, oh, come back. Come back. So after I'm done with y'all don't do nothing in this house, we don't ask you for much. The second thing I said was, the only rule that I have, because I'm the one cleaning up this house, is that I don't take out the garbage.
I don't take no trash out.
I am the only woman in this house. There is no reason why I should be the one taking out the garbage. Period.
Your dad ain't trained them right, is what I had.
I was so just beyond upset. That happened. And then later on, I asked the boys to help cook. I'm trying to teach them to cook food. So to cook food. So I'm like, Isaiah, who wants to help? Isaiah Joe, who wants to help me cook? I don't want to. So then I say, okay, that's fine. Both of you guys can now clean up the kitchen.
See, I told y'all I'm doing that in my set. Anytime women say, okay, it's never a good thing.
No.
It's always bad.
It's always worse. So guess what? Now you guys can clean up the kitchen. I'm going to cook. And then you're going to clean up all the pots and the pans. Because what I would have done is allowed you guys to help me cook. And then I would have cleaned the kitchen. But since you want to have an attitude.
You know you done messed up, right?
You can clean the kitchen. And I'm not rinsing nothing. Normally I'll try to rinse the dishes as I go to make it easier for them. No, I'm not doing none of the things. You can clean up this whole kitchen. I was so mad. And in that moment.
You called me.
Yeah. Oh.
And they're always your sons when they mess up. You know what your kids did today? Oh,
because
now they're mine.
I never act like that.
Your sons don't take off the trash.
I didn't act like that as a kid.
And your sons don't see Captain Marvel. When they get good grades, oh, my baby's so smart. Oh, my baby got an A. Oh, my baby scored the goal. Don't take the trash out. Your kids don't never have no respect.
They don't.
Your kids musty.
And
you the one that's sweating, but when they must keep that must on keep that on your side of the family.
I know.
Your kids is
my
musty. They need native deodorant
sweaters
for children.
For real.
Little natives.
So listen though. I learned after I calmed down. I said, you know what? My mom was a nagger. My mom was a yeller. For sure. And I get that from her.
Your mom used to get pissed off if the house wasn't clean.
What
is that? A droplet in the sink? I'll fire on everybody in this house.
She was not that dramatic.
But also, y'all house was
we were talking about that
impeccably clean.
I don't know how my mom did all that all the time.
Every time.
Yeah, but also she had 3 girls. I'm living in a house with 3 filthy, stinking men. Anyways.
2 filthy, stinking.
I said what I said.
I ain't filthy and stinking. Just filthy.
Listen, because we got to finish.
Why we got to finish?
Because I got to pick up your child.
See, now he's my son.
But listen to what I'm got
to be picked up.
Just talking. What I was about to say is, in that moment, I realized why my parents would get so upset. Because they're going to work. They're getting up. My dad's going to PT. We're literally across the Atlantic Ocean on a different continent. They can't see their family when they want. They're trying to provide. And I don't know how my parents grew up, but they grew up rough. I mean, I wasn't exposed to it, but I know they grew up rough. On the rough side. They was on the rough side, specifically my mom. And they're trying to provide so much more than what they had. And when they compare what we have to what they have, and the nerve to not want to clean the dishes.
The nerve of you.
To help with dinner. To vacuum or to do whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was such a bratty child. The least I could have done is offered you my yes, I will help. And that's all I'm asking for my children.
So all you're doing is they're repeating the cycle that you
I am repeating
because I was clean.
Cycle.
My room was clean.
Yeah, a lie and a half and a truth ain't and the devil. Do you have any other last thoughts?
This is a fantastic episode. I like the Love Hour. It's a good podcast.
Oh, good. I'm happy
you do great work. You do all the work, so I can just come and sit down and blabber. You go do all the pre-work, all the reads. I appreciate you for that.
Well, the reads can go back and forth because you're better at that than me.
But you do all the prep and setup. I just come and talk.
Okay.
And put a bandana on.
Why do you have this bandana on?
I don't know.
You do be,
'Cause I'm a thug,
just be
cuz.
doing stuff. Okay, so no other last thoughts?
No final thoughts. This is a fantastic episode. There is some more things that we didn't talk about, but
there's not much. Okay, so
you got to see, and there's D, E, F, G, and H. Talking about there's not that much.
Okay, so
you could do a second episode.
No, I'm not.
You could do part 2 next week.
Okay, well, think about it. So what I want to say is make sure that you are following KevOnStage at KevOnStage. I can be found at Miss KevOnStage. And The Love Hour has a Instagram, and that is at The Love Hour. And on Facebook. I don't know what's happening.
There's a hoodie sale coming this week.
There's a hoodie sale coming this week.
There's a code. It's going to be 30% off. I just don't know what the code is.
Okay.
Probably Anita Baker.
Okay, we'll also put it in.
Can I use that again?
You can. We can also put it in the show notes.
Okay, 30% off of these All Things hoodies and the Bless hoodies, making way for new merchandise for the spring. Even though the spring bodies are behind schedule, summer bodies probably won't be delivered until summer 2020, at least for me.
In time for the conference. Speaking of which,
hold on, I just want to say this. When Josh took that picture of me in Hawaii, when I was all blubbery, and I was like, next year things will be different. Next year it came a lot faster than I thought. Hawaii is in 4 weeks, and I absolutely still look like that. And if that boat is there, I want to take the exact same picture. Just new swimming trunks. But overall, nothing else has changed except the swimming trunks. I also realized the last thing I want to say about losing weight is totally random. I was doing really well, remember, before the tour started. And I know you want me not to be on the road as much next year. The routine of touring is what makes it so hard.
Yeah, you're much better with routine.
I am so much better with, I have my day, I can go to the gym and I have flexibility. Yeah. But without that, it is tough. Yeah. And touring is grueling.
Yes, it is.
So 2020, baby. I'm coming for you.
That's
2021. We'll see.
Last thing we want to say is that, the conference is well underway.
Yeah.
I should have decisions made by this upcoming Friday. I am so super excited about it. I anticipate having registration soon. I don't know if I want to give y'all my target date yet. But if you want to be on the mailing list, please text Love Hour to 500 and you can join our mailing list.
Yep. Space
also
is limited, so get y'all money together. It's going to be quite an experience.
Yes, I'm so excited about it. Thank you to our sponsors that sponsor today's episode, Third Love, Audible, and Native. Please support our sponsors. By supporting our sponsors, you are also supporting us. And I think that is it.
Amen and amen.
Right.
God bless you. God keep you. We'll see you at the conference.